Only 8% of traders hit their goals every year. But among my 6 and 7 figure clients, that number spikes to 65%. So in this video, I'm breaking down the exact system they use, and by the end, you'll have a step-by-step blueprint so that when you look back at the end of 2026, your success will be undeniable. But let's start by taking a look at this graphic. It's from the book Essentialism. On the left, you see 90% of traders, scattered energy, multiple goals, zero meaningful progress by year's end. On the right, one trader, one goal, one crystal clear vision. When you channel all your energy into achieving one thing, your progress explodes. So here's what we're doing. Define one key goal. Not 5, not 3, 1. Why? Because traders don't fail from lack of effort. They fail from overwhelm. Too many markets, too many setups lead to confusion, scattered energy, and no clear way to track progress. If you're already profitable, a P&L goal works perfectly. Now, let's be real. Markets have ebbs and flows. You might need to adjust up or down throughout the year, but having a target is still very important. Think about it like weight loss. Two people say they want to get in shape. Person A says, I want to lose 2 kilograms a month. Person B says, I just want to lose some weight. Who wins? Person A. They can track progress, know when to adjust their diet or training, and it keeps them accountable. Person B, they'll probably make some progress, but without the precision or tracking, they're never going to push towards truly transformational outcomes. And the same goes for trading. But how do you actually decide your one goal? Simple. Close your eyes and imagine 5 years have passed, and they went really, really well. Life is amazing. Where are you living? What does your income look like? How about your health, your relationships, your daily routine? Go ahead and pause the video now. Spend a few minutes doing this exercise. I'll wait. Okay, you're back. Now think about your 1 year goal. What feels achievable while also pushing you towards that dream? Find the sweet spot where it feels like a stretch, but is also a meaningful step towards the future you actually want. That's where your goal should sit. Once you have your income goal, the next question is, how are we actually going to get there? Here's why so few people actually hit their goals. They're missing critical pieces. To achieve any goal, you need 3 things working together. Let me give you a simple example. Say your goal is to get to your friend's house. You need 3 things. The destination, your friend's address, the route, how you're going to get there, and a reason to go, why it's worth the trip. If you don't have the address, are you getting there? No. If you don't have a route, no GPS, no directions, are you making it? No. What if you have both, but you know your friends at work and it would be a wasted trip? Are you going? Of course not. To achieve anything meaningful, you need 3 things. A goal, the what, system, the how, and vision, the why. Without all 3 working together, you're just hoping. And there's a reason that hope and nope share 3 out of 4 letters. So now we have a goal and our vision, that's the dream life 5 years from now. It's time to build this system. This is the most critical part, and it's where most traders completely fall apart. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine you could download all the knowledge of the world's best trader, just like Neo in the Matrix. All the skills instantly uploaded. The only catch? Your trading account drops to $1,000. Would you take the deal? My guess almost everyone would say yes, because with elite level skill, it wouldn't take long to build that account back up, then not much longer to get into the stratosphere. Because here's the truth, your biggest problem isn't capital, it is skill. This matters because skill leads to more money, whereas more money doesn't necessarily lead to more skill. So your system needs to be built around 2 things. 1, extracting the maximum amount from the market with your current skill set, and 2, incorporating time to develop the skills necessary to keep improving. Here's another graphic. This one's from Atomic Habits. This shows what happens if you get just 1% better every day for a year. Now this is a simplified example, and getting 1% better at something every single day is pretty difficult unless you're a total beginner. But 1% a week? With compounding, that's actually 68% better in a year. 1% better every 2 weeks is still a 30% improvement. Let that sink in. Small, consistent improvements compound into massive transformation. And in just a second, I'm going to show you exactly how to identify which 1% improvements will have the biggest impact on your P&L. Now think back to your previous year. How does it feel? What emotions come up? What could have been a lot better? Here's what I want you to do. Start by writing down everything that cost you money. Don't filter, just brain dump it all. Tactical mistakes and mental game issues, everything. Pause the video now and actually do this. Don't be one of those people who just watches and never takes action. All right, you should now have a list, and it might look something like this. For each item, estimate how much it costs you per month. Multiply that number by 11, and that's your annual cost. Write it next to each mistake. Once you've done this, pick the single most costly one and write out every possible thing you could do to improve it. Don't censor yourself, just write every single thought that comes into your head. Once you've done that, identify the top 2 or 3 things that would have the biggest impact. Then schedule them into your calendar so that every week you're spending time working on them. If you're not quite sure where to start, here's one technique that works incredibly well for just about anything. Visualization. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and see a situation coming up where perhaps you're not performing as you should be. Could be a big opportunity that historically you panic at or undersize on. See the trade appear, then see yourself trading it perfectly. Perfect size, fearless, holding it to target, then executing brilliantly. Now rewind and replay that same scenario or a slightly different one over and over again. Do this 20 times per day, morning and evening. I've yet to see this not work when a trader sticks to it for more than 2 weeks. Whatever you choose to work on and whatever method you pick, track your progress weekly and keep yourself accountable. Focus on just one area at a time and stick with it for at least a month, probably 2, or until it's 70 to 80% better. Remember, this is your most costly mistake, so spending serious energy now will pay massive dividends in the future. Review progress weekly and ask yourself these questions. Do I need to change the approach, do more, or just keep going? And by the way, if you want to fast track your progress, now in my one-on-one trader mindset coaching program, Elevate, we run through this exact progress methodically, work through your biggest issues using hypnosis, mindset coaching techniques as well. If you're interested in learning more, click the first link in the description, book a free 30-minute call-in with me. I've had some insane results. My average trader client 3x's their P&L in just the first year of working with me. Here's another method you can use to prioritize. Estimate how many hours of focus work it would take to delete this issue from your trading. Divide the annual cost by the hours. That's your hourly value for working on that issue. Here's an example. Let's imagine you estimate overtrading is costing you $50,000 per year. And you estimate that if you really worked on this for 40 hours, you could make it 80% better. That means that the value of working on this is $1,000 per hour. Do this for every item on your list. Now you know exactly what working on each area is worth to you per hour. Remember that graphic we started with? Most traders try and overtrade less, working on their new setups, improving their journaling, and developing a sizing plan all in the same week. If you just focused on one area of performance for 4 to 8 weeks, made serious progress on it, then moved on to the next thing, in 3 years you would be an absolute savage. But that's why most traders stay broke. You're not going to be like most traders. You're going to be the second image, the trader who actually gets somewhere. Once you got your goal, your system for improvement, the next piece is knowing how to use the rest of your time. This means creating a schedule, and understanding when you'll trade is just as important as knowing when you won't. Don't get me wrong, at the start especially, you'll need to put in a ton of hours. But this is important. In order to not burn out, you also need to decide when to quit for the day and when to stay late. The key question to ask is, how valuable is this opportunity and how rare is it? If it's a top 10% situation, staying late, in my opinion, is almost always justifiable. If it's just top 30%, nothing special, it's probably a pass. Here's how I think about it mathematically. Let's say something big might happen tonight, and you estimate there's a 30% chance that if you stay late and trade for a few hours, you could catch it and earn $30,000. Let's calculate the expected value. Well, the expected value is the payoff, 30,000, times the probability of it happening, 30%. So that equals 9k in EV. Now, if you're thinking of staying 4 more hours, that's 2,250 per hour. When you frame it that way, the decision becomes much clearer. Another rule I use is staying late so valuable that I could skip trading tomorrow and still come out ahead. With these 3 hours of more expected value than an entire trading day. If yes, stay. If no, consider going home. The only exception, when the market's just on fire, like it has been the last few weeks with Iran and other major world events. When the hourly EV is so sky high, that's when you plan for a 3 to 4 week sprint. In this time, you work incredibly hard. You know you'll burn out eventually, but you pace yourself as much as you can to get through this intense period. Then you plan the recovery. Some of my clients took holidays in February and early March for exactly this reason. They'd earned it and they needed it. You want to think about your trading in 3 phases. Pre-trading, which is preparation, during trading, which is execution, and post-trading, which is review. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make? They spend too much time trading and not enough time preparing or reviewing. Here's what 6 and 7 traders told me. The time they spent in preparation has a 3x higher expected value than just sitting there trading. Think of it like a surgeon. Would you want a surgeon who just shows up and wings it, or one who's reviewed the charts, planned the procedure, and mentally rehearsed complications? The answer is as clear in trading as it is in medicine. A lot of clients of mine now do 3 hours of prep on Sunday. Reading, planning trades, thinking through sizing, mapping out how different scenarios might play out. When they do this, they estimate it adds 20 to 30% to their expected value for the week. One of my clients put it this way. When I trade without prep, I nail it maybe 30% of the time. I'm fast, decisive. Then another 40% of the time I do okay, but I'm slow, might undersize. The last 30%, I struggle. I massively underperform, hesitate, or make huge errors. But when he preps, his success rate jumps from 30% to 80%, and trading badly drops to just 5%. The mediocre trades make up the last 15%. That's a massive edge, especially when the biggest opportunities are the ones you can actually prepare for. And you might say, Dan, but what about the trades that come out of nowhere? Well, here's the thing. Even surprise trades follow patterns. You might not predict the exact Trump comment or the exact headline, but you can prepare for similar situations. Here's what to do. List the last 10 to 20 out of the blue trades you've seen. Look for commonalities. What markets moved? What was the setup? How did you react? Ask yourself, if I'd known this was coming, how would I have traded it? Then extract the lessons. What can I learn from this that applies to future surprises? It's like a firefighter running drills. They can't predict the exact fire, but they've trained for every type of fire. When the alarm goes off, they don't panic. They execute, and the same is true with trading. As for review, this is where you create your playbooks. Lessons learned. How market reacts when X happened or Y was in play. Think of this as a way to learn the lessons quickly so they stick. Write down every trade you take. Why did you do what you did? And what could you have done differently? Think of it as writing letters to your future self. I have a client who made 6 figures in a week for one reason. They wrote a playbook 6 or 7 years ago for a very specific scenario that recently came back into play. While the rest of his colleagues were scrambling, trying to figure out how to adjust, he simply looked it up in his capture system and was able to capitalize and trade with massive size. Because past him had already saved the plan and he knew exactly what he had to do. That's the power of thinking in decades, not days. Another mistake traders make? Planning for one scenario instead of several. This creates tunnel vision. And when you're married to one outcome, Trump's going to say this or the market will do that, you set yourself up to massively drop the ball when reality doesn't match what you imagined. Here's the key mindset shift. Your job as a trader is not to be right. It's to react to what actually happens. Instead, think probabilistically. Come up with 3 possible outcomes. Scenario X could be most likely 70% probability. Scenario Y, second most likely 20%. Scenario Z, unlikely but possible 10% probability. For each one, ask, what product would I trade? What sizing would I use? How would I manage it? Think of it like a chess player. They don't plan for just one move. They think 3 moves ahead across multiple branches. When their opponent makes an unexpected move, they're not scrambling, they've already considered it. The trader who plans for all three scenarios is nimble, fast, and flexible. The trader who bets everything on that 70% scenario, thinking it's 99% to come true, he gets blindsided, panics, and trades badly. There's a difference between having conviction and being close-minded. But you'll never crush your P&L targets this year if you don't get this next bit right. Listen, you'll be amazed at how many traders literally don't have a plan for when to increase their default clip size. Instead, they seem to feel like the trading muse will one day gently whisper in their ear, "This is the time." If this is you, this needs to stop today. So here's the rule. Your sizing plan should be based on account size. Period. Why? Because how much you risk on a trade has to be commensurate with how much capital you have. Any system that ignores this makes absolutely no sense from a risk-reward perspective. Is risking 10k on a trade good or bad? Well, it depends entirely on the account size and quality of the trade. If you have a several $1 million trading account and the trade is positive EV, you could go massive, even on a 6 out of 10 opportunity. But if your account size is 30k and you're risking 33% on a mediocre setup, that's terrible money management. Here's the problem. Traders are terrified of sizing down when they hit a drawdown, which is one of the main reasons they don't size up in the first place. It feels too much like admitting defeat. This makes no mathematical sense at all. When you look at Kelly's criterion or any optimal betting model, the answer is clear. You should size up aggressively when things are going well and size down dramatically when you're in a drawdown. That's how you give yourself the best possible edge without blowing up. So how do you do this? Well, start by writing down how much money is in your trading account now. Then figure out thresholds when you'll automatically increase your sizing. For example, say you have a $30,000 account. You might increase size every 5k. 30k to 35, increase default sizing by 10%. 35k to 40k, increase by another 10%, and so on up to 50k. But here's the key. Once you hit 50k, going up every 5k doesn't make sense anymore, because 5k is only 10% of your account. So you adjust the increments by every 7.5k or 10k. The key is to make the size increase of your clip size to be smaller than the percentage increase of your trading account. This means that as you scale your sizing, your risk of ruin is getting lower. Trading's getting safer, even as you risk more per trade. A mistake many traders make, they don't size up frequently. They get scared. They come to me and say, Dan, I need to double my clip size. No, what they should have done is 5 to 15% increases. Small, consistent steps frequently. Traders develop superstitions around sizing. They overthink it. The solution is you need to take decision making out of it. Make it systematic. What if you've left it too long and your account is way bigger than it needs to be with your current clip size? Pick an aggressive sizing up plan and stop basing it on P&L. Instead, increase based on time. You already have the funds, so now it's more about getting comfortable. Increase size every 3 to 5 weeks, like clockwork, until you feel like you need to move back to a P&L-based sizing increase model. The other thing that happens, traders wait for the perfect time to size up. I'll ask a client how they did. They'll say, great month, made 100k. And I'll say, did you increase your default sizing? And I'll find every excuse not to. Yeah, but I got lucky. I haven't been sleeping well. The market's been volatile. Even when their account has grown significantly, they resist. Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art calls this resistance. It's what holds people back from greatness. So here's the mindset that will serve you. There's a trader out there, somewhere in the world, who's making 10x more than you. And here's the kicker. He knows less about trading than you do. He's not as smart, doesn't have your analytical abilities, his reflexes aren't as sharp. He's maybe less experienced than you are. But he earns 10 times more for one reason and one reason only. He kept sizing up. He increased his threshold slowly but surely. He didn't overthink it, and because of that, he now earns 10 times as much as a smarter trader who let resistance get in his own way. Don't be that trader. It's a silent killer that stops so many talented traders from rising to epic levels of greatness. And speaking of things that kill your trading, I've just made a video on the 5-step framework to stop overtrading in its tracks. If you like this video, I think you'll love that one. So click this video here to give yourself the best chance of smashing your P&L goal. And I'll see you there.